So anybody out there getting ready to do some planting? Yeah? I'm getting ready to do some weeding. Right?
Gotta do it.
Can you guys see this okay? I can never tell the plants from the weeds. Well, this is the solution. Hold them all up, and the ones that grow again are the weeds. Ever have that experience?
Oh, sure.
This is one of my favorites. My fake plants died because I did not pretend to water them. I love this quote about gardening. A garden requires patient labor and attention. Plants do not grow merely to satisfy ambitions or to fulfill good intentions. They thrive because someone expended effort on them. So I've been doing a little research because, you know, I'm kind of new here in Flagstaff. In Phoenix, we have a 365-day growing season, if anything can survive in 120 degrees.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a little research, and I've been checking this out, and this came to me, this whole talk about planting. What are you planting? What are you planting? What are you planting in the garden of your soul, Penny? What's that? What's taken root? What needs fed? What needs pruned? What needs fed some more? What are you planting in the soul of your garden? So I thought, well, let's start with the basics. Now, I know everybody will have their own opinion on what it takes to grow things. I get that, because trust me, I've asked enough people, and I have a lot of opinions. You need to do this, you need to do that, you need to not do this, you need to not do that. I love that, right? And then what I notice is the weeds have no rules at all. They just grow. And then I stood out in the yard, and I'm sure you've all asked this question once or twice in your lifetime. Who determined that they were weeds? What makes that a weed and that a flower? Well, that's a flower because they sell it at Home Depot. And that's a weed. Well, because I didn't want it to come up right there. That wasn't exactly what I had in mind. And so we look at some of these basics. And I loved this first step in gardening, to understand your microclimate. And I said, that's cool. What the heck is a microclimate? I've lived in Phoenix and I've lived in Southern California. They have one climate. It's just one. We actually have weather here. We have climates. We actually have climates here from zip code to zip code. I'm sure you guys know that. This is news to me, right? Huh?
From neighborhood to
From neighborhood to neighborhood, right. So I said, what's a microclimate? A microclimate. This is the official definition. It's the climate of a very small or restricted area, especially when it differs from the climate of the surrounding areas. This can affect your growing season when you plant whatever. So what's your microclimate? You have one. In fact, I suspect if you're anything like me, you have a microclimate. That's where micromanaging comes from. Then you have a microclimate that is a little bigger, sort of like this room for me. But what I know is the climate differs from all that climate that's outside and around me. How are you managing your microclimate? Are you aware of what your personal climate is? Do you know what conditions there are in your climate? Now in planting, growing zones differ and all of those kind of things. But you've made choices and you have put elements into your microclimate. You've created the little microclimate that you're experiencing right now. That does not mean, do not hear me say, that there is blame or shame in any of that. You have had a lot of exposure to a lot of climate opportunities, and you have selected a few of those as your microclimate. Being aware of what that is will protect your growing season when you are fully aware of what yours is. And the old famous pruning. I went out in the backyard, and I don't know if anybody has ever grown anything in the backyard that I have. There's a lot of pruning to be done. It's a really good exercise when you're just about up to here with something, and you just want to do something. Pruning is a great thing to do, and I highly recommend it in your life. You cannot start a new garden. You cannot start a new season until you have pruned away the old. That's just the way it works. Mother Nature tells us that. I watched these little buds on one of the trees out in my front yard, just really working really hard to pop out on this branch. And what I noticed was about this much of the branch at the end was all dead, dried wood. And as soon as I snipped that puppy off of there, boom! It was like an invitation got sent out to the rest of the buds. Pruning away what no longer served that plant made it flourish. And it's the same in your life. If we don't prune away what doesn't fit us or serve us any longer, those little buds have to work so much harder. We have to work so much harder. Our soul has to struggle. And it doesn't have to. With just a little snip here and a little snip there. The pruning of the things that no longer serve you in your life. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. And when I let go of what I have, I receive what I need. This is a little poem that I found. So the next thing is amend your soil. And I think amending your soil is a really fancy way of saying fertilizer. And where I'm from, a very agrarian place, we had an abundance of fertilizer. I think I shared with some of you when I moved to Arizona, I was shocked that they were selling fertilizer in bags. I called my dad and I said, we're sitting on a gold mine. They're selling fertilizer in bags in Arizona. It takes some of that to grow you. And when it gets stuck to your shoe, shake it off and know that it's growing you. In your life, it takes fertilizer. In your life, if you want to expand and move into a greater expression of who you are, it takes a little fertilizer. And life will give you the opportunity to have plenty of it. So amend your soil. What is the quality of your soil? When was the last time you thought, I could just use a refresher course on meditation? I could just use a little boost on what it means to pray and to be prayed for. Amend your soil. Boost it up a little. You'll have the opportunity to bloom as a result. And choose the right location. Location, location, location. About 6 hours of sun a day is what most vegetables I'm reading need. Now, I don't know, is that still true in Flagstaff because we get so much sun? It's about 6 hours?
A little less.
A little less maybe, depending on what you're growing. Are you allowing enough sun in your life? How about your soul? How about that garden that we're growing in our soul? Are you allowing enough sun in your life? Are you allowing yourself to be happy? Is it okay, even in the midst of fertilizer? If you let a little sunshine? Would it be okay if you woke up one day and you say, it is good to be me? You gotta have some sunshine if you want to grow your soul. You gotta look for the sun. And you know what plants do? This is what they do. They keep reaching for the sun wherever they can find it. Just like my cat that moves from window to window. Seeking out what they know feeds them so that they can bloom and be the greatest expression of who they came here to be. Give yourself a little sunshine. How about a belly laugh right now? Really, how about a laugh right now? When was the last time you let that much sunshine into your life? It's amazing. It's amazing when you do. Sow the seed or seedlings. Plant it. You know what I noticed? I can go down and I can buy those cool little seedlings because I don't trust myself with just the seeds either. And I can set them on my little porch. And I can water them. And I can watch them in their little tiny plastic container. And they just won't grow much. I have to take them out of the container. And I have to either put them in the ground or where I'm at in this community, put them in a pot because there's just too much rock. And let them grow to the size of the container I've put them in. Let them expand, but they have to be planted. This is part of the deal. I have to commit them to the ground. In our lives, as we grow our souls, we have to commit to that growth. Commit to it and say, I want to be a really big soul. I want to be a really big light because I am hearing just once or twice a day that this planet could use more light. I am hearing that we could use some healing and love and connection and joy, and I can't do it if I don't commit myself and plant myself in some good soil with some good sunshine after I have pruned away the things that no longer serve me. And of course, there's water, and there's nurturing, and there's protecting, and there's enjoying. Don't forget the enjoying part. I stopped at a neighbor's house. She has these big, huge pots of pansies and vinca. And I literally stopped and knocked on the door. I think this woman probably thought I was crazy, but that's okay. I've been called that before. And I said, I want you to know how much joy it brings me to see the effort that you have put into these pots on your front patio. She was a little taken aback for a moment. Of course, you know, crazy people show up at your door like that and they say things. We're not used to hearing that kind of thing, are we? Mm-mm. She didn't have me arrested, which was good news. I'd have called her for bail money. What she did do is I saw something shift in her. And I saw her feel seen. I saw her feel appreciated. I saw her bloom in that moment. But here's the trick. I have a trick up my sleeve. All of this effort is for naught if we do not wisely, consciously, and with care choose the seed or the seedlings we want to plant. I had a moment this morning when I looked around the room. I love that every person that is here is here. But I had to ask myself the question, Penny, what seeds are you planting that we aren't putting 35 people in the room? And I want to own that. Because what came to me this morning, and this is what I love about the chairs, I want it to be too perfect. It has to be perfect before 35 people show up. That's the seed that I planted. And I just realized it this morning. What seed are you planting in your life that is stopping you from being that next level of expression. I am here, I am standing in front of you right now, and I am telling you that I am pruning that dead wood out of my consciousness, that it has to be perfect before we can welcome 35 people into this community. I am telling you that I am willing to do that pruning, and I am checking into and consciously choosing a new seed to plant in this community. You know, I am your spiritual leader. That's my job, to be paying attention to what seeds we are planting. This community deserves to be a voice in this town. Each one of you in your own individual lives and the garden of your souls need and deserve to be the biggest voice that you were called into. And it doesn't have to be perfect, Penny. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be God. And I've never seen God show up less than 100%. And I have never seen God show up less than perfect. And we are the expression of that if we are consciously and carefully choosing the seeds that we are planting. And we are consciously and carefully pruning away the dead wood that no longer serves our garden. It feels really good to say that out loud. It's a brand new revelation, truly. I'm telling you, these chairs are magic. But I am here to tell you, as your spiritual leader, that is my commitment, and I am inviting each and every one of you into that on a personal level and as a community. We got good seeds here, folks. We got lots of great vegetation to grow. And we've got the soil that we need, because betwixt all of us, the amount of life and life experiences that we have had, we got some really great fertilizer. I know my life does. How about you? Are you willing? Are you willing to commit to your own life at that level? That was not a rhetorical question.
Yes.
Can we allow ourselves to bloom in amazing ways? Have we considered that when we are carefully choosing those seeds, are we sowing seeds of oppression when we tap ourselves down and make ourselves less than what God calls us into? Are we planting seeds of discrimination when we see ourselves less than anyone else? What kind of a harvest will those kind of seeds bring? Are we planting seeds of hate when we deny that we are the expression of God, that we are the light? This community is here to serve the greater community of Flagstaff. What seeds are we planting if we don't claim and own and take the steps and do the work to show up as the amazing garden that we are called into in this community and in our own lives? What seeds are you choosing? What kind of seeds are you planting? If we understand our microclimate, if we prune and be rid of that which no longer serves us, when we amend the soil and accept the fertilizer that the world gives us, and choose the right location, sow the seeds, nurture, protect, and enjoy our yield, we have the opportunity to be an amazing individual and community. Now, there is a consciousness that once you've done all this work, the only thing you have to do is know that your job was to plant the seed. To choose the seed, to do the work and plant the seed. Because, and I commit to this, making room for God. You've done the work. It's time to sit down. Once you've done that, and clean the dirt out of your fingernails, and just enjoy and trust that God is in it. This is how we move forward. This is how we grow our souls. This is how we grow our community. It is my honor to be the spiritual leader of Unity of Flagstaff. I commit to you. I'm choosing new seeds, and I invite you into looking at the ones you've chosen. Namaste.